And joining us now to talk more about the centennial commemoration for Thomas Macdonough and the memorial is Tom Donahue, who is the president of the Battle of Plattsburgh and 1814 Commemoration Committee. And also Linda Masterson Ward, who for a number of years has volunteered to help organize and oversee many of the events that have been part of the Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration. Welcome. It's great to see both of you.
Thanks for having us.
We appreciate you being here. We just heard from Stephen Englehart about the history of this monument and how it's been a landmark in the city of Plattsburgh for the past century. Built to commemorate the American victory during the War of 1812 that stopped the invasion of the British naval warships on Lake Champlain and the troops that crossed the border and invaded from the north in September of 1814. The memorial is named in honor of Commodore Thomas Macdonough, who was the captain of the American fleet's flagship, the USS Saratoga, and what historians say was one of the greatest naval battles in American history. This summer, Plattsburgh is celebrating the memorial that was dedicated 100 years ago and the hero of the Battle of Plattsburgh, Thomas Macdonough. Tom, we'll talk in just a moment about some of the events that are planned for the Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration weekend coming up in September. But Linda, let's start with you. Why don't you tell us about some of the events that are planned over the next few days here in August to commemorate this?
Well, we're beginning on August 18, which is actually the centennial day. It's the 100th anniversary of the Thomas Macdonough Memorial. And we're having a small symbolic ceremony at the monument downtown. We are doing it on the 18th because that is the actual anniversary. But we're having another ceremony on September the 10th, which will be the beginning of the Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration. And the reason we're doing that is because the 18th is still the middle of summer vacation and people are going to be away, and we wouldn't be able to have the pageantry that we're expecting to have on the 10th.
And is everyone welcome to attend both of the ceremonies?
Yes, the public is invited to the August 18th ceremony. And that will be a short ceremony, maybe just a half an hour, but we will have some speakers, the mayor, and some bagpipers, and it'll be a very nice, solemn ceremony. But on the 10th, that will be a ceremony that maybe some people who are viewing today attended a similar ceremony in 2014, which was the bicentennial of the Battle of Plattsburgh. And we will be having beautiful music. The 10th Mountain Division Army Band will be attending, performing. The bagpipe band from Plattsburgh and the Macdonough family members will be in attendance. There will be, as I said, a lot of music. There will be speakers. We'll have representatives from the Army, from the Navy, local speakers, and presenting 4 wreaths representing not only the people who died during the Battle of Plattsburgh, but veterans who served this country and members of the armed forces who continue to serve. So the ceremony is planned beginning at 11 o'clock and will take approximately an hour and a half.
And then also that night on the 10th, you're having a special dinner. Yes,
we're having a special program at the Inn at Valcourt and the Valcourt Boat House. Basically what we're trying to recreate was the gathering that took place in September in 1814, not very long after the battle was over, within several days. Thomas Macdonough, Captain Macdonough, and his officers were invited by the city fathers to have a dinner in what was then the village of Plattsburgh. It's a gathering. There will be loads of food. It's not a sit-down dinner. It's an opportunity from 5 o'clock in the evening until 7:30 for people in our community and many people like the Macdonough relatives and other special guests to come together to reflect on the history that we all share and promote, and also to spend some time with old friends and meet new people. And then from 7:30 till 9, we're having a program with some special speakers and some entertainment and music, and just a very fun evening to celebrate our history.
And open to the public? And
Open to the public.
So do they need to get tickets in advance?
They do, and they can go to our website, which is battleofplattsburgh.com, and they can look under events. It's very easy to find the information.
And Tom, are there some special events planned for this year's Battle of Plattsburgh commemoration in addition to the centennial?
Well, yeah, actually, we decided to change a few things this year. We're going to have our ceremonies on Wednesday this year. We're trying to follow the route that the British took from the border down, and the first one will be at Culver Hill in Beacontown, and then the next one will be at Halsey's Corners on the outsides of the city. And then that evening, we're going to move Riverside from Friday over to Wednesday evening, because we're going to be doing a special ceremony at Riverside, not only for the Battle of Plattsburgh, but also in conjunction with America 250, taking care of all of the veterans from the First War through the Battle of Plattsburgh right up to the present, representing and taking care of all the veterans from then till now. You know, that's what our organization really is all about. And then on Friday morning, we'll do the other two ceremonies, one at Crab Island at 11, and then at Fort Brown around 1:30. Then everything moves downtown to Trinity Park and City Hall Place. We are going to have music and food, exhibits in the park, all leading up to our big Glengarry Boys are coming back this year. Free concert, outdoor concert, topped off with our Rockets Red Glare fireworks on Friday. So many bands are going to be in the parade, like usual. That's an event on Saturday at 1 o'clock every year. The band from Fort Drum is going to be here for the whole week, from Thursday through Saturday evening, where they're going to do a special concert free to the public at the Strand on Saturday. And of course, also the Macomb Ball under the tent is always a big draw on Saturday evening. It's open to the public, you know. It's free for most things. There are a couple of things this year indoors that are going to require a button.
Okay.
The history talks will be in the church, and that'll be on Saturday. And also on Saturday and Sunday afternoon, we'll be having the period music people back again with Beethoven and Bach and all the different ensembles. And that too will be at the Trinity Church. And of course, we're a nonprofit, and we have to pay for these bands. They're expensive. So there will be a requirement of having a button to attend those functions.
Which folks can get in advance, either from local merchants or from the website.
That's correct, yep.
And reenactors, will there be reenactors this year?
Not that many. We'll have a small contingent over at the Kent Delord House, but most of the reenactors this year are all involved in America 250, the Revolutionary War, so it's hard for us to compete with that.
Linda, along with the commemorations, are there folks who are looking at the 100th anniversary and looking at the future of the Thomas Macdonough Memorial and wondering about what that looks like?
We put together a group of really wonderful people and started looking into finding out what the actual condition of the monument was. And to make a long story short, we did bring up some engineers from Albany who said the monument was basically, the actual structure was intact, but the pedestal was not. And also the interior needed work. There are a number of people that I have spoken to, and myself included, who would like to establish a foundation. The city of Plattsburgh owns the structure. It was built by New York State, and at the time it was built, the most notable person at the time was President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who at the time was the Assistant Secretary of the Navy. And he was very instrumental in choosing the architect, the design, and raising the money. And he was in Plattsburgh on several occasions, including the unveiling of the monument, which was in 1926. Our current mayor is very enthusiastic And so we're very hopeful that sometime this September, October, we can gather together enough people, interested citizens who have showed an interest in the past, and maybe get down to business of putting something together so that we can really make certain that it not only is preserved, but actually perhaps made better.
Would one of the goals of creating the foundation be to open the Thomas Macdonough Memorial to the public more often?
Yeah, that's always something that people are interested in. The problem is the safety factor of it, because when you have people who go up and down in the monument, you have to have at least somebody always at the top of the monument, and at least one or two people down below monitoring who's going up, what they're wearing. If it's raining, it always has to close because the staircase is metal. The interior of the monument needs to be made safer, for one thing. And yes, people love going up. Tom can tell you about the monument climb that we have.
Ever since we started the 156 Club.
You started just a few years ago.
A couple years ago, yeah.
And that has been a huge hit.
It's been one of the draws for the whole weekend. You know, you'll go down there on Saturday or Sunday, and there's a line waiting down the sidewalk to go up to the monument. Yeah.
156
steps up, and you got to come back down, so there's another 156.
And they get a pin. That's been a draw for some people.
Pin.
But I think
I survived the climb, yeah.
I imagine also being able to get up and have that perspective, to see that view.
Look out on the actual bay where the battle actually took place, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime thing. And many people do it just to see that view, or just to say they went up, you know.
So having, you know, a bona fide foundation with people really interested in all of these things that we've discussed would be absolutely wonderful going on into the future.
And not only making sure that people knew about it and the history, but maintaining it and and the upkeep
absolutely.
And all that goes with that.
And it costs a lot of money to do that. Just to repair the pedestal, the engineers that we had at were talking in the millions to replace it, actually. So it's a very large endeavor.
Tom, Linda, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us. We appreciate it.
Great.